Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If you are new, my name is Samantha. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I decide to buy my luxury bags. And I do have a couple of notes in front of me, so I'm going to talk about what I consider, how I decide, and my deal breakers. So to start off with, what I consider, I have to ask myself which brand represents me the most, and this includes which brand suits my style the most as well. So for me, the ones that do fit my style would be, for example, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Saint Laurent. But the ones that do not for sure are like Kenzo, Balmain, and Gucci. Like I don't have anything by those fashion houses. It's just that the vibes are a little bit different and the style, I don't see myself wearing those brands. So to start off with, I will ask myself what kind of fits my style and what I would wear. Because these are expensive. You don't want to be spending on something that totally isn't your style. And it's not like you have to buy everything from every single fashion house, let's say. And the second thing that I consider is the price. So under that, I ask myself, is it worth it for the material, for the durability? Like, is this a cloth bag or is this a leather bag? And what does this compare with? So for example, with the recent Chanel price increases, I managed to get a Saint Laurent bag that is basically $3,000 after taxes, but now the Chanel wallet on chain is more than $3,300 before taxes. And considering that this YSL Kate bag that I have, and I have an unboxing and I'll link that, it fits double in comparison to that Chanel wallet on chain. So that is just a little comparison that you can like ask yourself what's also available in the market that practically does the same thing. Although I do understand that different fashion houses give off a different vibe. So it's totally different, but when it comes down to money and what you're deciding on, then I think that's a really big factor. So the next one, along with price, is does it hold its value? I know that not everybody buys a bag thinking that they're gonna sell it, but it's a little bit helpful to know that the bag that you bought will increase in price over time and that it's always in demand, and that just sits a lot better just in case hypothetically you do need the money down the line in the future, that you can actually get some of that money back. Just for emergencies, that's what I'm talking about, but that is something that I also like to consider, especially because I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a bag that might also be outdated in a couple of years, although definitely get what you like and what makes you happy. It doesn't have to be a classic or hype item either, but definitely ask yourself where you see yourself with this bag or shoe in 10 years. What I also consider is the bag category thing that I have going on. So if you guys did watch my 2021 wish list, I kind of talk about that. So I want to curate my collection to have one tote bag, one red bag, one pink bag, one bag that is a top handle, one that is a crossbody but can also convert to just a top handle. So I kind of just want to have certain categories. For example, I don't have a luxury backpack yet. So that is something that I can think about in the future if I want to spend my money on. But in terms of like a little black bag, then I wouldn't get another one because I already have a Chanel medium large flap and a Chanel wallet on chain. Considering those are already black and gold hardware, I'm definitely not going to spend more money on buying the same style. So those bags are going to my go-to if I want a black bag. So for example, these categories can be a pop of color bag. It could be your favorite color, the little black bag, a shoulder bag, a crossbody bag, a top handle bag. And for example, if you're buying Louis Vuitton, you can consider the different canvases. For me, when I was buying my Speedy B30, my Neverfull and my favorite, I kind of gave myself my options. I worked it out that I know I wanted my Neverfull in the Damier Ebene finish. So that means my Speedy B will most likely be the monogram finish. And for the reason being is that I actually did like the peekaboo color in the Neverfull with the red. And the Speedy in the monogram just looks a lot more classic and kind of like a nice vintage piece. So I worked all that out in my head so that I only got one piece in each monogram. And then my favorite, I just thought it looked better in the monogram finish. So definitely ask yourself what finishes you want for each type of bag that you are getting. Another thing that I consider is wearability. I ask myself how many times can I wear this? For example, Chanel lambskin. that scares me to death, and I have a small leather good, a Chanel card holder, and that is the only lambskin piece I will probably ever get. And is this bag occasional? Is it for seasonal? So if I get a lilac bag, the chances of me wearing it in the winter is probably not as likely. I do have my Coach Cassie bag, or Casey, I already forgot, Cassie. It's pink. I don't see myself wearing it in the fall, but because that bag was a couple of $100s in comparison to a couple $1,000s, I can kind of feel a little bit more comfortable or shrug it off a little bit. It doesn't seem as big of a waste in comparison. And how many outfits can I make with this bag? Is it a bag that I can dress up and dress down with? Is it a bag that I only can wear white with? So if you can come up with more outfits, then it helps a lot. So one thing I did was when I went to go buy my Prada Saffiano leather tote, it was kind of like a nude pink, and I knew that I can only wear it with nude colors. So I really wanted the bag either way, but when I went shopping with my mom once, we went to the mall and I dressed in an outfit that I would ideally wear with this bag. And it turned out that it looked really good. So I knew that I can definitely wear this outfit with this bag. It was doable. It's not something that I brought home and I'm like, crap, how am I gonna pair this? How am I gonna wear this? But the more outfits that you can make with, the better. Of course, if it's a black bag, it is super easy. So if you do dress with colors, it's a little bit harder, but as long as you get your bang for your buck and it's wearable, then it's a good investment. And something else that I consider is the hardware. Now, I know that some people debate about this, whether they care or don't care about gold hardware, silver hardware, or whether they care about gold or silver hardware. Now, I'm the kind of person that does care about that. So I have to look into whether this bag is a gold hardware because I personally like that. All my jewelry pieces are gold. I am starting to like, gold. I used to love silver, but now I'm trying to just stick with gold and perhaps do mixed metals. But I know for sure my bags are gold hardware. So now, for example, I'm not gonna spend a couple $1,000s on a bag that has silver hardware because I know I'm not gonna wear it out as much. For example, my Valentino rock studs, that has gold hardware. So that kind of bothers me if I carry a bag with silver hardware and then my shoes are gold and it doesn't match. I know like some people like don't care or don't notice these things, but personally, it would definitely deter me from picking out that bag to wear. And for sure, it gives off a different tone. So gold, you get that very warm, luxurious vibe. And then with the silver, I feel like you get this really cool, casual vibe as well. I do feel like silver is a little bit easier to match and pair, and it doesn't come off as super dressy versus the gold, in my opinion. I feel like it looks like or feels like that I have to dress up a little bit to kind of match that vibe. That's not something that bothers me, but I still like a gold either way. But of course, it's all subjective. Like I said, of course, there are some things that look better with a certain colored hardware. So for example, baby pink and baby blue just looks better with silver hardware. So I guess I would just ask myself what kind of color palette I wear from day to day. The second last thing that I consider is the requirements. So for example, back in my 2021 luxury wish list, I mentioned that I wanted a red bag. Now, this red bag had requirements, and it was for me to be able to dress up, dress down. It had to have a convertible strap so I can wear crossbody, shoulder, clutch, and I could switch from day to night wear. So I knew that my red bag had to have that because to begin with, red is a very hard color to wear and match, so I had to pinpoint what I needed it to do. So definitely ask yourself if you guys are looking for a tote bag, for example, do you want this tote to just be something that you can carry on the crook of your arm or your hands, or do you have to have it have a crossbody strap? Do you need it to be waterproof completely? So that means no vaqueta leather, stuff like that. And the last thing that I consider is comparing brands and models. So for example, this could be the Coach Cassie bag versus the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis. Of course, that is a huge comparison that everybody always talks about, but it is a big one. For me, I know that I'm never gonna buy the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis just because I don't think that that bag for me is worth that price. So I opted out for the Coach bag. And I already have enough monogram pieces from Louis Vuitton. I don't need another one. So something from Coach was a little bit more fun for me and also different and affordable. Now I'm gonna move on to how I decide. So first of all, I do tons and tons of research. I watch YouTube videos and reviews and how people style it, because I want to know how they're wearing this. If they're always wearing yellow with it, then I can't get that bag because I don't wear any yellow at all. I want to know about the wear and tear, how much it's costing now, how much it's increased in prices for the past couple of years, because if it's constantly increasing, then that's probably a bag or shoe that I want to put ahead of everything else on my wish list. Otherwise, it's going to be even more unobtainable down the years. Doing your research, I would say, is part of how I decide. And the second one is always surrounding myself with pictures. I don't know if you guys know, but I am in design. So this is something that is personal to me. So I am a very visual person, and I always like to surround myself with visuals. So by doing that, I have my wish list on my phone actually. And I do talk about that in my 2021 luxury wish list as well. So on one of my home pages on my phone, I literally see all the pictures of all the bags that I want. This way, that when I'm still staring at it every single day, if it doesn't give me butterflies or if it doesn't make me go, oh, I want to work to get that, then it's probably not worth that X amount of dollars, and I can probably put that money elsewhere. But if I'm constantly looking at it and I'm thinking about it, like for example, the Cartier ring, I look at my hand, I'm like, oh, that would look so good, like even paired with this ring right now, I can't stop thinking about it, then that means it's more worth my money and my time. The second part of surrounding myself is using a Pinterest board. I made a Pinterest wish list, and what I do is when I pin something, I actually pin it myself. I don't just search it. I copy the link and I put the prices, the finish, and everything that I want. That way, if there are any other price increases, I can compare it to the original price that I put on my Pinterest board, just for my sake. And whenever I do buy this item, I actually update my Pinterest and I put like bought and then the price that I bought it for. So just in the future, whenever if I click back into it, I can see the amount that it is now and the amount that I bought it for. And similar to my like phone iOS 11 wish list setup, I always look at it, I go into my wish list and I like put them in order on which I want to get first. So that kind of helps me narrow down on my priority list. And it basically just delete whatever doesn't like create a spark anymore because you don't need it. Or you can just move it down to the bottom of a list and it can be like a maybe section. And yeah, if you're on Pinterest, you can definitely also see how other people are wearing the bag as well, which helps a lot. If you don't see yourself wearing what majority of the other people are wearing it with this bag, for example, then it might be a sign that it's not your style. Or you can just learn a ton of stuff just from seeing how people are styling it themselves. The last part on how I decide if I want a certain bag, let's say, I ask myself, will my style change in the next 5 or so years? This is because from my personal experience, I'm glad that I bought most of my luxury bags from 2015 to 2016. So I want to say 5-6 years ago, because if I ever bought a luxury bag back when I was in high school, I probably would not like it anymore, or I wouldn't wear it. It would just be sitting in my closet. And like I said, I liked silver hardware back then, so that means I would have a ton of silver hardware bags, which I wouldn't want to wear. And for sure, I can say that my style has definitely changed from 5 years ago till now. And it's probably still changing a little bit, but definitely I would say to just think ahead to see if your style will change. And if you're only buying this because it's current and trending now. So that's something that I would just ask myself. And moving on to my bag deal breakers, I'm just gonna go down my list here. Because I'm 5'3", many bags are too long for me, so I would have to say that one of the deal breakers is if it's too long and not adjustable. The next one is if it has Velcro, and this is because for me, luxury bags with Velcro doesn't seem that luxurious, and the wear and tear of that Velcro getting fuzzy really bothers me. So I don't think that I would ever get a luxury bag with Velcro unless it was on the inside, but I still probably wouldn't consider it. Soft leather that is prone to scratching from nails. Normally I have long nails, not right now because of the pandemic, but I have this Karl Lagerfeld bag and it's so soft that it has scratches from me just reaching into the back pocket to grab my phone, and it's like these white gray scratches. So I just don't want to be worried about that. So I know I'm definitely not going to get any bags that are super soft that my nails can scratch it. Of course, I'm not like scratching and jabbing it, but just from like simply reaching in and reaching out, that I don't want to break my bag that costs X amount of dollars. The next one is if a bag has more than 2 colors. For me, it's just a little pet peeve, I guess. I find that if anything that is more than 2, max 3 colors, it gets a little too busy and it doesn't seem or feel as luxurious anymore. So I like to keep my luxury items to a minimum of 2 colors. And this includes the hardware color. So there's an exception to that though. I would say the Louis Vuitton canvases are different because the colors are very analogous. So it doesn't seem as too busy in my opinion. The next one is saggy, slouchy bags. I find that they're prone to wrinkles and I don't like anything that doesn't have a shape to it. To me, it just seems like they're just like sitting there chilling and it doesn't maintain the shape really well. Of course, people do like the slouchy looking bags, but I personally don't. I like it to have a very structured shape to it. The next one is clutches. I do not plan on ever buying a clutch. I just don't like the idea of having to open and close it or something like that. Plus, I like my hands to be always hands-free no matter what. And the next one is when bags are too loud. I don't like it when it's just like jingling and I don't know, creating such a ruckus, especially in like quiet places. Like even if I'm shopping, I'm the only one in the store, but I'm like creating an echo and a sound wherever I go. That's a little bit self-conscious to me. I don't like being the center of attention in that aspect. And the last one is squeaking hardware. Now I know some of these things that like can be fixed at the mall with like a wax or something, but I don't mean like a zipper, but it's kind of one of those things that if your zipper just moves from side to side within that little compartment, it just makes a sound. This one is a little bit hard to say because I want to say it's usually from wear and tear, but if the bag is initially already squeaking when I'm looking at it in the mall, then it's definitely not something that I'm going to consider buying. So that is basically it for all the things that I consider when buying a luxury bag. So in conclusion, I compare, I narrow down, I take the time to think, and this is when I look at my phone or Pinterest, and then I revise the list. So this is when I can reorganize everything on my Pinterest and prioritize what I want the most, and then I purchase. So of course, I also go through the stores to try on first. It's not like the first time that I try it, I buy it right away, unless right when I try it, it's perfect and exactly the way I want and I've already done previous research. Otherwise, sometimes I've probably gone to the mall like twice to try it on, even if it's not the exact color or style, as long as I know that size fits me. So I've gone to the Prada store before to try on the Saffiano leather tote in a totally different color. I think it was black, but I just did it to see the size so that when the time comes that when I am ready to purchase or that I know how it feels on my body, then I can compare to other bags that I can try so that I can kind of make that decision better. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know everybody has their own way of deciding whether to get a certain bag or not, or luxury item, but I just really wanted to share with you guys how I do this, and this was also requested by a lovely viewer and friend. So let me know one of the steps that you guys take, or whether you guys have a bag deal breaker in the comments down below. And of course, if you guys are new to my channel, and if you guys haven't already, it would mean so much to me if you guys would hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video.